Okay, welcome back to the Zenith Poker podcast. Today we've got Nariman. Hello, Nariman. How are you doing?
Hello everyone. Good, perfect.
So Nariman's been with Zenith for a very long time. I guess I've known Nariman since sort of before Zenith was even created, and he's one of the OGs. Um, Nariman, how about you tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey in poker? Because I'm sure yours is actually quite an interesting one.
Sure. I started playing poker from college for my undergrad, and then it just stayed as a hobby for a few years uh, until I went to the grad school, which I started playing online on the side when I was also doing working on my dissertation during the school for my PhD. Once I got my degree, uh, I moved to Boston to start a full-time job as an engineer and working a 9 to 5 job, of course. And after the job, I started like playing home games after work hours almost every day in the evenings. So basically, I worked 2 jobs for uh, almost 2 to 3 years, playing some live 1-2 games, home games. And eventually, when I got laid off from my job, I decided to just stick to poker as, of course, a side income, not the main source of income. And during that time, I was doing more studying and going deep through the concepts that I saw one of the articles from Thomas in another website, which looked to me very different in terms of how it was analyzed and interesting. So it was the time that I contacted him and decided to work with him closely and getting some coaching sessions, of course, that and I realized that it is like a science. It is a very deep, infinite amount of knowledge in this field of poker that was fascinating to me. So the more I dig, the more I find the stuff and more doors open. Of course, there are a lot of closed doors, but so after that, I have been playing poker full time, and mostly play live poker. And at the same time, I study uh, almost like as equal number of hours I play poker. So, and I never regret becoming a poker player when I compare it to the engineering job and all the perks and benefits this type of job has had for me so far. And I am now here, like playing after 18 years, and I have many more years to go. And I'm excited to share this with you guys. It is a very strong and active community of Zenith poker students and coaches, and I would love to be with this community for many, many years from now.
Yeah, awesome.
Mm.
Thanks for that. So, how about you tell us a little bit more about that transition that you made from you know uh, going from your engineering job to becoming a professional live poker player. Could you talk
Yes,
a bit about that?
yes. So the transition, it was not like planned as like very in advance. It was not. It was kind of an excuse when I got laid off from my job. And when I started playing 1-2 live, this was because I already had a monthly paycheck out of my engineering job, that I had a reasonable bankroll to be able to play 1, 2 games in Boston area. And well, the income at the first, the profit coming from the poker was not comparable to the money I used to make on my engineering. But after a few years, I got more comfortable playing live, and the transition was, as I mentioned, working 2 jobs, and it was not sudden transition. It was a slow transition. So I had a daytime job as an engineer and nighttime job as playing poker as a grinder on the side. And after 3 years, I realized that the profit coming from live poker was something now comparable to the money I got paid from engineering job. And of course, during my working and having a regular paycheck, I made some investments in real estate, which was very critical in me making my decision to becoming a pro. I always had a plan B to fall back in case I failed in poker. So it gave me a lot of peace of mind doing those type of investment. It gave me some more income, and but it did not require a 9 to 5 commitment during the day, so I could study more, and my profit starts growing even more because now I study more and I could I managed to fix some of the leaks. So after I got laid off, at first I was not sure if I'm gonna just leave everything behind because, well, my degree was uh, in direction of the job I used to work, and the idea of not working with my degree anymore was kind of giving me a feeling that maybe I am wasting the opportunities. I should go back to engineering. Then why did I study all these years at school? Uh, these was the type of thoughts that I was dealing, and at the same time, I started like being like a Uber driver, like a rideshare driver on the side because I was not sure if I could pay all the bills without having a constant income. But as I mentioned, I had another type of income from the real estate, and that was the time when I uh, got to know Zenith community and Thomas, the way he helped me and the way I looked at poker. It is like a science. It was exactly all the methods and the things I had learned during my PhD to do research. Now I could use those methods to learn poker. Just self-study the things, working with softwares and analyzing uh, all the spots using computers. Those are the things that, like around 2017, it was something very new to poker community that time to get involved. And when I start, the first thing I started working with was Card Runner EV, and then we transitioned to GTO Plus, and of course Monker charts that came into play, which drastically improved my win rate. So the transition in general was during a 3 year of observation and being caution that how my lifestyle is going to change. And after I got laid off and made those investments, I made my move. It took me 6 7 months to feel comfortable fitting into a new lifestyle. And I gotta mention, I was lucky that during that 6 7 months I did not run into a downswing or some sort of uh, destructive variance. So I had a good run during that first couple of months of my transition. So I could build my bankroll, build my confidence, get more comfortable, and get to know more people in the poker community around a Boston area, and getting invited to more profitable home games, and studying full time now. I had the time that instead of waking up and going to my old job, now I had the time to when I wake up in the morning to study the hands and go through the hand history of the like a last night session. So it was a combination of multiple constructive reasons that helped me improve and get settled. As a player, first it was like a grind, and it was a steady but not very significant. Uh, but after the first year, my bankroll now allowed me to just move up to playing 2-5. And of course, at the same time, I improved through working uh, on the technical aspects of the game, which was overwhelming. It is still overwhelming to me, but at the beginning, there was a new door open to me with infinite amount of information that I had to absorb, because before that it was just based on feelings. There was no uh, technical basis on how I learned poker, and just basically based on experience. But the way that I got involved with working with solvers and preflop charts and quizzes that we used to have at the beginning, and I know they're still going, um, I drastically changed. So uh, when I looked into my profit chart, I can see the spike in the chart exactly after a few months. I have my lifetime chart, because since I started playing live, I have been logging all the data, and I have been keeping and maintaining that. So when I look at the lifelong chart of my profits, I see the spike in the profit a few months after I changed the way I study poker. And I am here now, still always my to-do list, the list of items I have to go through, always long. Every time I cross one of them, another thing pops up. And this is a never-ending uh, research that I have committed my life to. And at this point, uh, I don't play poker for money, because, first of all, because of the current situation and the pandemic, and the situation right now, there are not many higher stake live games going on in Boston area. I have to go to Vegas or out of the country to be able to reach those higher stakes games. So I just mainly play 2-5 and 5-10. And well, poker has done a lot great things to me. I have used some of the profit to do more investment, and I am financially at the stage that I don't need uh, the money from playing 2-5 uh, to pay my bills, which again helps me a lot to make more comfortable decisions in the spots that if I did not have this bankroll, I could not be making make a clear decision. So at this point, I play poker for perfection, and I play in a way to just be focused on the spot, uh, make decisions not based on the money, just based on how many big blinds I'm gonna calling. Because before that, one of the mental leaks I had was comparing the amount of bet to call on the river with the money I could have done with it, with that money, and all these type of very negative thoughts that they keep you to become a very fearless player. And I'm still working on these things. Some of them has been in me uh, for years because I don't know, because the way I was born, the race and the culture and all these things, the way we think about the money in poker. I don't have a lot of experience playing tournaments. I play live cash games, so every chip is a dollar amount, and this uh, this association could sometimes bring you some kind of thoughts that, oh, what could I do with this money, or I lost this amount, and some make some uh, comparison that don't make sense. I've been working on that one, and at this point, poker to me is like a self-help. Like I work on it to work on my mental game, and I have seen uh, amazing results since I have changed to this worldview that I don't need poker for money. I play for perfection, and the money comes with it automatically. So this has been my new way of thinking about poker. Of course, it is a mental aspect that uh, it needs a lot of work to do. So I would like to tell to the audience a little bit about how I study poker. Uh,
Yeah, please. Yeah.
because yes, live games are very slow in nature, and I understand most of the guys here are online player. They love fast-paced environments. Some of them are gamers, and live poker can be very frustrating, especially some of the tables they don't even have a shuffler. So every hand could take a few minutes. So you play 25, depending on the dealer, 25 to 30 hands per hour. So this could cause a lot of problem for people with low amount of patience because they think they're wasting time. Live poker is so painful. I understand that. But I remotely, when I'm at the table, I'm connected to my computer, and I used to study because all the time the sims were running on my computer, or if a hand pops up, I had to run a sim to see the results. So I am always studying at the table. This way, I don't have to wait for a hand. The hand eventually happens, it comes to me. So I am not pushing any action to happen. I am not uh, getting annoyed to fold for hours because I am already busy. I am doing something else on my phone, which is studying. And to be honest, the amount of content in Zenith Poker is so much that uh, it takes years to just cover everything. Like the book, a couple of 100 pages of book. I still have my to-do list to read the book that Thomas wrote, and quizzes I am behind, charts, some of the charts I have to remember, and so there is always something to study and read. And I understand study is not fun. It is laborious. It takes a lot of emotional labor out of you to go and study. But because I had a background of studying for many years for my grad school, and I used to this type of uh, environment that I have to study all the time. A lot of my friends now are professors at universities and they are committed to studying. They have the students and they are studying all the time because they have to publish papers. And I understand they have accepted this that they're gonna study and get old like this. So they gotta commit. And to me, poker is a major. It could easily be a major in a college because uh, it is, first of all, it could be a major. And second, it could be on top of all the majors because the combination of the skills you need to have to excel in poker. Like if it was a regular major in university, just by studying hard you could achieve that. But poker, on top of the technical things, you have another domain to master, which is emotional aspects and mental game of poker that we all have a lot of leaks. You know, tilt, rage, frustration, jealousy. These things used to come to me because when I see a better player at the table, I used to feel jealous. And this was so destructive. Uh, I could call it he's a luck box instead of going deep through his style and the way that he was playing. So I
So
have
Nariman,
committed myself.
could you touch maybe for the audience on sort of the mental and emotional aspects of the game and how you see them and how you've kind of overcome any tilt issues you've had in the past?
Yes. In general, I used to be an angry person. When I was younger, I used to get road rages, easily intimidated, and all these sort of things. And here's the thing, when I started poker, the amount of technical things that I learned was a lot. So you, as a beginner, all you need to do is just study technical things. And then because you learn so fast, your profit and your hourly rate goes drastically high. But at some point, it gets saturated. It is a diminishing thing that after some point of learning technical aspects, you don't improve like you used to improve a few years ago. Because now you know kind of all this stuff and you don't improve like before. So at this point, this is the thing that makes a great player separated from good player. I realized that I am lacking the mental ability, and this is how I solved it. So for poker, I got a coach, which is Thomas, and I am so happy that for the technical aspects, I work with him, and I mean, this is just beyond question that Zenith Poker, it is a research lab. It is not even comparable to any other. For the mental game, I also got a coach. And so this coach is not like a one-to-one work, but it is kind of like a spiritual person, a life coach that uh, the first lessons that he teaches you are the emotional stability that we lack, the impulsive decisions. You face a four bet, you just close your eyes and just shove it with ace king. As a five bet, you run into aces. These impulsive decisions that um, I got it under control by working with this guy. I work with the app. There are a couple of apps that help. I mean, I don't know about other of them, but one of the apps that I work and I have the subscription yearly is the Calm app. I do meditation 2 to 3 times a day, every time 10 minutes. So 20 to 30 minutes of meditation It drastically helps. It makes me be calm at the table, because when you enter a poker room filled with players, action, the sound of the chips, all the bad beats, high hands, all these things, it is really easy to get excited and having an elevated heart rate. But this app helps me to go calm. And another thing that really helped me was uh, I used philosophy. I mean, this coach I have, he's a philosopher, and when somebody has a philosophy, a strong philosophy, you can get over the bad beats, because your worldview about bad beats gets totally different, and the way we can deal with bad beats, downswings, bad lucks, and all these things really help, because poker has taught me a lot at how to be in life. In life, we could also get bad beats. We could lose loved ones. We could get some uncurable illness. These are all the bad beats we could get into. So uh, I work hard on the mental games, and to be honest with you, the mental game is even more demanding than the technical game of the poker. And there was a guy at the table. He asked me, "Do you think in future uh, existence of solvers is going to destroy the fun of the poker game? Because now everyone has the solver and everybody knows about the technical things." And in my opinion, it will never happen because of the mental part, especially live games. It attracts a lot of degenerates and people who love to gamble and just love the rush of going all in and see the runouts and all these sort of things. And this is just because it is a very intense interaction with human beings. Poker will never die, and even when the solvers take over, the mental game of the poker is so uh, deep and untouched that it takes years to improve in that as well. So I work out, and I uh, do meditation, and I listen to philosophy videos. And this is how I have committed myself to be a poker player. And it really has turned me into a better human being as well. I have emotional stability. I can master uh, my emotions. I don't want to say that I am always like that. I lose it sometimes. But this way, it also has helped me a lot in my relationships with my people I work with my tenants, with my wife. And I am so grateful that I am a poker player. And I get every now and then emails that, hey, this is a job opportunity if you want to come back. Or my friends ask me, do you ever see yourself going back? And this is not about making more money. They don't see it that way. Poker brings you uh, freedom, freedom in time. You can schedule your own time. You are self employed, you are your own CEO, and when you have freedom, you are wealthy. Because wealthy people are the people who have freedom to, to learn the things they love, to follow their passions, to discover, to discover. Myself, I spend a lot of time discovering the purpose of life, and no other jobs could give me this sort of freedom and flexibility. So I am always confident I will never go back to that job. It was a transition. I don't want to undermine being an engineer. Without going to school, without being an engineer, I could never have the investment as a side income to make the bankroll, to work full time. But that was a transitional step. There is no need to be stuck in an engineering job for years, like many people. So to me, if people ask me, being a poker player is the best job in the world because it is productive. First, on you, it makes you a better person, to be more focused, to be clear, to respect the opponent who gave you bad beats and laughs at you, and all sort of things. It helps me emotionally. It is a competition. It never dies. This competition is always running. There is always some poker game going on around me, online, poker rooms, and I love the competition. I know you guys play games. I see many people are gamers here because they love the competition and to how to strategize uh, their approach and the freedom. I mean, the list can go on, but uh, it is not easy to be good at a poker player because I get to see a lot of old poker pros, a lot of big names. They have had achievements, WPT, even WSOP, many years ago, but they did not look at it that way, and they gave up studying. Now, new online kids, I'm sure many players here are better than them right now. They fell behind. Now, kids come here and they get caught up. They know better. They are younger, fearless. So I see a lot of them have backed up. A lot of them right now struggling because they stopped working. They stopped studying. And this is what happens when you stop studying, and most of it is become because of ego. And so I try not to be like them. I try to be the best of my own version all the time. And I am not ambitious. I am not going to play poker to make a lot of money because I see myself, because I have freedom, I see myself a wealthy person. I can do what I love. I don't have to uh, ask for vacation time, but I have to maintain this lifestyle. It is easily can fool people because they get stuck, they get fooled, they have freedom. You have to have a lot of discipline to be able to maintain and stay sane and healthy. Otherwise, after a few years, you will fall behind. Online players come and crush me. So I see myself dedicated to this, and I don't see this way to lose uh, interest in poker this way because I don't play for money. Because when you don't play for money, if you lose a lot, you don't get upset. If you win a lot, you don't lose interest. One of the big uh, things that I always wanted to mention, the reason that like a good player, it could be controversial, but it is just my opinion. Like Doug Polk, after some time, he said, "I'm not interested in poker." Yes, he won a lot of money. He is an achiever. He won a lot of money in the heads up match. But because the way he was looking at poker financially or something material, something which could just make him happy as in the outside world, he lost interest. But the way I look at poker is that it is a self-help, it is a self-actualized tool you can use to always be a better person because of the emotional stability. 90% of the people in the world uh, are angry. they can get irritated easy. Like, if you say something to them, they could be upset for days. This is how weak they are in terms of the mental and how to treat bad beat and insult. But I owe poker the way that has helped me go through tough situations in life. Uh, I don't see any day to just quit poker because uh, it is really helpful to lose my sanity this way. And this way, you become a better player because you are not dependent on the results. Of course, these things are not new that I am telling you. These are the things that are out there. Many people have told you. But now I have experienced it myself and I feel it. And I realize that this experience, how amazing it is. It is very, it gives you a lot of amazing results. And I don't give up. So now I do meditation every day. At first, it was not easy, but now I have established a habit. So when I go to the very loud and noisy poker room, I am very calm and I can make decisions. I don't choke in big spots. This is a sign of fear that I am sure all of us have. You are playing a 4-bet pot and you are on the turn. The pot is huge and you just, all of a sudden, you choke. You go blank. You lose the ranges. You have the ranges until turn. Now you don't see them anymore. Because we are scared, because we are not focused, because sometimes because we don't know. Most of the time, the fear comes that when we don't know the spot. When we come to the new spot and we don't know it, we panic. And all of us are analytical people that are very good in problem solving. We have a strong background in math, yes. So we are addicted to all the time have things figured out. And as soon as something we don't know how to figure out, and there is a problem we don't know the immediate answer, we panic, we get annoyed. We are going to solve it as soon as possible. And if we cannot solve it right away, we panic. We fear, we go blank on the biggest spot, and we lose the hand. So it is good to allow myself to not to know. There is always time to know it later. I don't have to panic if I don't know it right away. So these are the things that I have been recently experiencing based on how my body reacts to those kind of spots. You gotta be always noticing, come up to pattern. Everybody has their own and unique way of panicking. But here's the thing. The hard part is implementing this knowledge at the table. Like, we read a book, now we have to close the book and do the exam. We cannot go back, we don't have time to run the sims. We have a few seconds as soon as, even online is even faster, to be honest with you. I should admit here, I have a lot of respect for online players who are having good results because they have to be fast thinkers. And of course, the competition is much tougher and they have to be more knowledgeable. But we have to be always conscious that how we are reacting to these kind of things. So this is the way I have been trying to review a hand. As soon as a hand happens, even if I lose or win, most of the times I am trying to focus on the hands that I won and I investigate to see if I could win more. Because you could easily ignore the fact that, oh, you could have won that hand much more. Like recently, it was a 400 big blind deep situation, and I had aces, and my opponent had kings. And I won some amount, and I got so obsessed with that hand because I know I could win, I could have won more because it was a cooler situation. Uh, so first of all, I am focusing on the hands that I won, not the bad beats, not the bluff catching spots. Uh, and then I'm trying to see what I was thinking and why I was thinking like that and why my mindset before the hand happened was like that that caused me to think like that. So I don't want to make it very complicated, but most of the times I see myself not being focused or not having rested enough. These are the things are so uh, immediately impact our performance. I used to have the ego and say, oh, these type of things are not that dramatic. But I gave it a try. I tried to take a shower and eat, and when I'm full, now I play. And compared to the time that I have not taken a shower or I am hungry, and I see myself performing totally different. So the first thing is acceptance that despite all the knowledge I have, technically, all the work I do mentally, I gotta admit that we are a machine, that we have to be tuned to be able to perform. And acknowledge it. Don't say I can perform even without that. It is so dependent of if you had a clear mind or not. Like I had a friend that he works on weekends and he has a daytime job. So on the weekends, he shows up in the evening and his results are poor. He's technically strong, and we investigated why his results are not as expected. We realized that his body is now has established a habit of working a game during the day because his full-time job, 9 to 5 job he has during the week. Now he's forcing his body to play in the evenings. And now he's not getting the results. He has recently switched in the evenings. He starts early on the weekends and his results have changed. Of course, it is a very few sample we have, but that was the first thing that came to our mind that how dependent our performance is based on how we prepare ourselves for the game. So definitely have a schedule. Yes, you don't have a 9 to 5 job, but definitely play the fixed hour of a day that you know. Your body performs better. So for the pros out there that they have the luxury of choosing their own time, don't have random hours. Always know what time of the day what you're gonna be doing. This time of day I am at the gym. This time of the day I am, I don't know, studying. Have that schedule. This way our brain uh, can adjust much faster, and most of the time we are on autopilot. So when we are not conscious, we are on autopilot. And autopiloting, especially for those people who multi-table, it is a good thing. Uh, but accept that you're autopiloting. You are not going to be creative in one of the spots because you are on autopilot. So you could do much better if you are conscious. It is not easy because the monkey mind always comes and we get carried away with thoughts. Uh, but it is doable. So these two things that I have make myself occupied studying poker technically and mental game using philosophy and meditation. It really has helped me to get over the fears, angers. I still deal with them sometimes. I don't say I'm not scared because yes, if I'm gonna play in 25-50, it comes to me. But now I know, at least I notice it when it has come. Before that, I didn't know what's wrong with me. Now I notice. It is good to notice that what are the signs that we get scared. I myself start sweating. I can feel a sensation in my belly that this is the sign and symptom of fear. The next time the symptoms has come to you, just observe them. Every time it comes, just don't do nothing. Just observe them. Oh, I am scared. Admit it. By time, every time we observe these symptoms, gradually it goes away. And of course, it is by by practice, but the domain is so vast that it is never ending. So I am so happy that I am involved in this again. I am excited. This is one of the things I am grateful of.
Thanks, Nariman.
I always
Do you have any
sure.
do you have any specific advice for people who are, you know, starting out on a live journey, starting out playing sort of the lowest stakes live games? Say, for example, 1-2 or 2-5. These kind of very low um, live stakes games in sort of common card rooms and casinos. Do you have any advice for those kinds of players who are trying to transition and are thinking about moving from a situation where they've got sort of a full time job and they're thinking about
Uh-huh.
playing poker professionally, or at least moving towards, you know, reducing their hours at their job and increasing their hours at the table, or even just quitting their job and playing professionally.
Yes.
Do you have any advice for those kinds of people?
Yes. The first thing that comes to my mind, I have been asked this question before. Don't quit your job if poker is going to be your sole source of income. It is going to be very scary, and you cannot play your A game if poker money is going to be the only source of income. You need to have another type of income, preferably a passive income, like a lot of passive income out there that comes to you as a plan B in case you had a bad run for a few months, because uh, it is a devastating cycle. You go to downswing, you go to C game, you don't play your A game anymore, and you go deeper. And like this vicious cycle is going to destroy you and lose all the bankroll. So in order to have peace of mind, you definitely need to have some sort of income that you don't have to rely on the poker to pay major bills like rent, mortgages, large bills, grocery bills. These kind of things are going to haunt you at the table and prevent you from being a good player. So if you have that job only and only, do not go pro because you will not make it. It is so difficult. I have seen people that they got burned. They they wanted to get out of the downswing. They increased the volume. They play 200 hours a month playing live poker. It is more than a full-time job because when you work full time, you work 140, 160 hours. And he eventually quit. Now he is back to another type of job because he got burned. He could not tolerate it anymore of the emotional burden it has. So the best thing is that make some time once you, like after hours, after your job, on the weekends, to improve your game, improve crush 1-2, crush 2-5. Once you start winning at 5-10 with good enough sample size, now that is the time you could consider getting out of a permanent job. Because by playing 1-2 or 2-5, you cannot pay the bills, or you will be miserable if you even wanted to pay the bills, because you're going to be a grinder. The journey in poker, to me, is to get out of being a grinder. You don't want to be a grinder in poker because it is a very group, like, tough and brutal lifestyle. But it is a transition. You gotta be a grinder. After some time, you have good bankroll. Now you could play higher stake, but not too many hours. I have seen some pros before the pandemic. They showed up on the weekend and only play 25-50 or 10-25. They don't have to be in the casino all the time grinding 2-5 table. That is the ultimate. If you want to go play high stake. So high stake players are not grinders, and being a grinder in the poker is not a sustainable model. You're gonna lose it at some point. So have a job, do some investment, or create some passive income or some less demanding income, even a part-time job. And then you can play 1-2, move up to 2-5, crush the 5-10, and now the 5-10 profit is significant enough to not to need the part-time job, for example. And of course, by then you have a good amount of bankroll that you can work with, and you can you have the flexibility. You can take shots with on higher stakes. So this is what I learned. Actually, Thomas told me the highest stake crushers are massively overrolled. They have a ton of money. Even some of those guys alive at the bike, they sit with $100,000. So they have solved the problem of money. They have solved the fear problem. And now they are playing for the competition. They're playing for the perfection. All those legends. This is the way that that's why they have succeeded. And that's why they're not grinders. So it is very tricky. It could easily go wrong, and be regretful that why I lost my reliable source of income coming to poker and praying every day my bad run ends today. This is gonna be a hell. So I can help anyone if you had any question. I am sure it is the first question that comes to mind after we achieve in poker is that, should I go pro? This is my chart. This is my hourly rate. I can't go easily pro, but there are some problems after you pass the corner that you don't see right now, that they come to you, and you don't want to be not prepared. You don't want to panic when you face them. So it has to be done in a course of few years. Do not do the transition in a short period of time, like in a week or a year. It has to be investigated. It has to be considered at least 2, 3 years. The results need to be consistently good. you have to see all sort of bad runs. That's why you gotta put many hours, especially live, which takes many hands to get to the same amount of hand. It needs a lot of time to get the same amount of hands in on compared to online. So don't rush. Uh, don't be so optimistic when you do want to, because here's the thing. Yes, you are crushing 1-2-1-2-5, but the game are getting tougher every day and every day. Like in Zenith Poker, I remember we used to do the quizzes, only 4 or 5 people were present. Right now, it is over 100, even over 1,000 students. So all these people in the player pool are getting better. So the competition is going to be tougher every year. So it is not going to be as easy as before. You have to be, it is a very demanding job. So don't think that if you're crushing 2-5 right now, you will be crushing 2-5 in 5 years from now. It is a totally different things. The solver improving, like the preflop charts. I have been playing poker for many years. These preflop charts in a preflop in viewer, in dynamic viewer, these are the new things. Nobody has them. Nobody investigated like this. Nobody did a research like this. And it is still coming out. And it keeps coming out. 900, 100 big blind, 300 big blind, the straddle, all type of scenarios. So the products are coming, and the competition, it gets tougher. And once you go to poker, you lose your expertise. It is very difficult to go back to your old job. Right now, nobody hires me as an engineer anymore because I am outdated. I used to work on 4G cell phones. Right now, 5G is coming. I have no skill and expertise in 5G. So all the jobs are about 5G. Nobody's gonna hire me. So if I had not planned this, it is not easy to go back now because I am not knowledgeable as before as an engineer. So it is a very tricky decision. Study it, don't rush, because I know you guys that are thinking are talented, and I don't want this talent to be wasted by making a rush decision, because it is so exciting to be a poker player, come back with $1,000, $1,500 profit in like a couple of hours. But it is not the whole story. Uh, uh, the more, I mean, if anyone can reach out to me, I may remember more details of how I actually did this transition. Uh, but my transition happened during a few years, and I was very conservative to if I should make this move or not, because I had a lot of things to lose.
Yeah,
The
we're,
first
we're
thing was
coming close to the end of our time, but I'll open it up to the audience. If the audience here has any questions, because this podcast is being recorded through the Discord right now, you can just wave, and then I'll let you up, and you can ask your question. But one question I have for you, Nariman, in the meantime, while the people are gathering their thoughts, is if you have any specific advice in terms of bankroll management, specifically for live games, what kinds of um, bankroll management advice you have for people who are playing live, and tracking their bankroll, tracking their win rate, stuff like that.
right. So the bankroll management, I mean, it is very important, but it is very dependent of the style of the play we have. Uh, there is a metric, if I'm not wrong, is the uh, dollar per hour standard deviation. This is something that can give you some of these apps that you log in your sessions calculate this this metric as well. And this gives you the idea of how high variance you play. Myself, my style of playing is low variance, which is not necessarily the best because there are some decisions with higher variance and higher EV that I should go through them. But bankroll management, uh, right now, because I play low variance, I only play with 30 buy-ins, and 30 buy-ins for each session is 200 big blinds. Let's say I play 2-5, I sit with 1,000, and my bankroll is only $30,000. This doesn't mean that if I lose this bankroll, I am broke. No, I still have some money behind, but not in cash. It is not liquid. I have to liquefy it. So it is not like that I only have these 30 buy-ins. But if you're gonna start, let's say, going pro, you need to have a huge, very confident bankroll. And I would say at least 80 buy-ins for live cash games, 80 to 100 at least. Uh, and with some backup plan that if you came down to 50 buy-ins or 30 buy-ins, you gotta have something in behind to go through it. Because to be honest with you, even after these years, I see some downs. I was thinking that I have seen all sort of downswings. No, there will be always one type of downswing that is going to surprise you and get you and 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 you don't know how to figure that out. So there is always the chance of a new downswing that you have never experienced coming to you. So I would say 80 to 100 buy-ins live, because live is lower pace, uh, lower variance in general. And the reason is lower variance because the competition is softer, again, compared to online. So pretty much this.
Yep. So there you were talking a little bit about the difference between sort of your liquid cash bankroll and sort of illiquid
Yes,
forms of money that you could access
yes,
if you needed to. Um, so in terms of what amount of cash you keep liquid, that's sort of around the 30 buy-in level. But if you needed to turn sort of illiquid assets into cash, you could, and that's what you recommend to be more closer to 100 buy-ins, right? So
yes,
yeah, I mean, I certainly agree with that sort of approach, and it's a fairly conservative approach, which is definitely what you need if you want to play this game professionally, because the variance is very very high. Um, is there any questions from the audience, or just type it in the chat and I'll ask Nariman. If not, Nariman, can you tell everyone how they can find you either through the Discord or through Facebook or something?
yes, absolutely. You can contact me on Discord. I am not very active in the groups, but I check them. I see the hand histories. If a quiz is updated, I always see them. So you can either message me on Discord or add me on Facebook. Uh, Nariman Rahimian. I have a couple of other Zenith players as mutual friends over there, and I, I am always happy to help you in terms of if there is a question on the hands, on the transitions, on the experience, uh, any type of things. If I can help, I would love to give back to the community, and this is one of my ultimate goal to uh, once uh, in future years that uh, I love to be a teacher, to help people improve, because uh, this is how I feel being productive to the community. Because some people say, oh, you are a poker player, you don't have any contribution to the society, you guys are selfish, only making money. This is not true. Poker can change lives if we can teach people, improve, they become pro, they become better humans. They have more time for their family, for their relationships. They are not a slave of a company or a CEO, they're not in the wage slavery. They don't have to work for somebody else. So it is definitely something I would love to give back to people. And I don't mind sharing my experience. And I learned this from Thomas, because there was a time that he's still doing it, that sharing a lot of useful information and helpful information for free. It was for free, and it was just not believable that. But now I see that I was wrong, because at that time I was saying, oh, I shouldn't be sharing this because he's gonna learn and come back at me at the same table, make the competition tough. But it was very short-sighted view. When I zoom out and see the long run, it is even better for my own game. So don't hesitate to contact me. I would be happy. I am not very active in the hand reviews, but I am most of the time self-studying. If I have anything, of course I will post, but most of the spots are solvable, especially post-flop spots. You could come up to the answer by yourself, and it is more efficient because it doesn't need that much time. But yes, add me on Facebook. I will be happy to help.
Thanks, Nariman, and thanks for everyone who's listened to this. And
Sure.
if you
Thank you,
have any
guys.
questions, send Nariman a message or myself. So yeah, thanks for that.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for listening to me. Good luck at the tables.